Hello. So we're back. We're back. Doctor Who is back. I'm recording this part of the video before the episode is actually aired. As you can see, it's currently like nature program or something at the moment. I don't know. So yeah, really looking forward to it. It's been a long time. The advertising for this series has been extremely weird and really quietive. It's something that a lot of people have been criticising the show for good reason, is that the advertising on it and the known secrecy about it. Especially there was a really embarrassing interview with John Bishop, the new companion, where he said that he can't even tell people that he's from Liverpool. That his character was from Liverpool, even though we had that short little teaser of him showing him in Liverpool. So that was kind of ridiculous. But yeah, other than that, I'm really looking forward to this. Though I have had my hindrances. With Series 11, the first series with Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, I absolutely loved. If you know me, if you talk to me, then you know my feelings on it. And you know that a lot of people I know don't actually like that season. Fair enough. If you have good reasons for it, then fair enough. But personally, I really enjoyed Series 11. When Series 12, the next series, came along about 2 years after, that's where, for me anyway, the series started to take a dip. Not in terms of quality per se, but in terms of my interest in this era of the series. Because Series 11, it did a lot of things which I wanted the show to do. And then Series 12 seemed to be going back to the many elements that I wasn't a fan of. Mainly the big bombastic story arcs that like Stephen Moffat was known for. So it seemed like it was trying to preach to a crowd of audience, but it just wasn't me personally. That wasn't me. And with a lot of news on this, is that this series is going to be one big story arc, being called the Flux. It's made me really nervous because I'm worried that instead of it, it's going to feel like this really awkward jumble of heavy story arc interrupting the main story that we're telling now, kind of thing. Could still be really good. I'm just really worried that it's going to pander to a type of storyline which I'm not personally keen on, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I know a lot of people are actually more excited because it's done that, because I know these kind of storylines, there's a reason why these narratives keep getting told, why a lot of TV series specifically tell this kind of story, because a lot of people seem to gravitate towards them and will even like forgive bad writing, let's be honest, if they told this kind of storyline, and even would ignore good writing just on the basis that it doesn't do this kind of storyline and considers it filler, if that makes any sense. So yeah, it is appealing to that kind of audience, this new series. But I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what John Bishop brings to the role. Mandip Gill, that was weird. Mandip Gill and Jodie Whittaker, can't wait for their last full run in the series. Chris Chibnall writing every story is kind of nerve wracking. Will he spread himself out too thin? I'm hoping that it's gonna feel like one big storyline, that each story is going to have a proper cliffhanger, a lead into the epic conclusion of episode 6. But we have to wait and see. So yeah, that's my thoughts at the moment. So it's almost on. I'll see you at the end of the video. Whatever. I don't know what I'm on about anymore. So yeah. See you then. Whoa. So the budget, that's definitely, a lot of money is clearly put into this. This looked, there are a lot of great cinematic shots here. With the ships covering the planet, the Flux itself, the swarm, the galaxy effects, the intro, the pre-credit sequence. Woo! That was a lot. Yeah, I'm kind of overwhelmed at the moment. So much so much was crammed into it. It was just kind of got a little bit overwhelming sometimes. Sometimes I didn't really know what was going on too much. The whole thing with the dog guy. I do like how he is kind of like a comic relief character. Like in the promotional stuff, they had that dog guy that made it look really serious, and then in the actual thing, he's got this accent, which makes me think that he's played by Peter Kay. He has a similar voice to Peter Kay's. That kind of made me laugh. And like the twist with him, like I liked how, like, the Flux, this main threat known as the Flux and the Swarm, they are the main bad guys. They are. It's made very clear from this story that this is a part one of a series. There are some elements as well which kind of bugged me. Some of the things I was criticising earlier of the series doing last series. It did stuff like that. There's a scene where the Doctor's talking to the dog guy. I can't remember his name. Cavalian, something like that. And she's basically building up. It's like, right, you're the only you're the only living member I can find of the division. You are part of the division, so you're going to tell me. And then, like, obviously that's building up to the timeless child, whatever. But she gets distracted by the message, and it's like, right, this division thing is just to remind us what's going on, to tease up for the finale kind of thing. There's also that really strange scene where that girl gets captured by a weeping angel, and she is sent into the past. Really strange. But of course, this story did feel like it was a part one, which is something which I was kind of hoping for, especially when it's revealed that that dog guy, spoiler warning, wasn't actually the bad guy. He wasn't, or at least he wasn't like the main threat of the main narrative. And why he took Dan Lewis, I couldn't really follow it, to be honest with you. I didn't really get it. But it did lead into some funny moments and stuff. Now, Dan Lewis, played by John Bishop, he has a lot of potential. There's that great scene, how we basically introduced to him, is that he basically has this love for this museum, and he's curating this museum only for this woman who I think is his girlfriend, or like the teasing, like a romance between them. And there's a great moment where he's talking about, she's like, right, you can't just do this now, you can't pretend you're the curator or something. And he's like, well, I can, it's a free museum, like, I'm just making it more lively, you know, I just really like it there. And John Bishop, you know, he's a British icon, but I felt like we could have gotten more with him in this narrative. I felt like we should have had a little bit more time to really know him as a character. Most of this story is plot. And sometimes I was a bit overwhelming. However, I did really like the relationship between Yaz and the Doctor in this story. This is something that I think has really improved since the last two series, is their relationship. Yaz can clearly get this feeling that the Doctor is kind of getting a bit distance towards her and is keeping secrets and stuff. And Yaz, with the Doctor being one of her only real true friends, does she then, you know, she really is upset by this, and she can really get this feeling. So I feel like that's going to be pushed more into the series. I am really liking their relationship here. The whole thing with the TARDIS is really weird. I hope that is built upon in later episodes in the story. But yeah, so overall, first episode, I don't know what to think about it. I think I need to watch it a few more times before I really give an opinion on it. The cliffhanger ending, I like how it reminded us of all the plot points that have gone over, because there are some scenes like the first time we see Liverpool, we have that guy, I can't remember his name. He's a famous real-life historical figure who went mad, essentially, and started building caves for no reason. But here, of course, we're going to have a Doctor Who explanation for it. And that scene is there to basically set up, right, we're going to do something along this in the future. I think it's a tie, in a sense, that, like, on one half there, yeah, that's teasing up stuff for the future that's not important at the moment. But then on the other hand, it does mean that there's so many scenes like that it does feel like it's an overarching story, that the universe is essentially, especially the Sontarans. Oh my god, I was not expecting the Sontarans to make an appearance here. I'm so glad we had that scene. And that scene actually kind of links into the story, as Doctor states. It's like, right, what who else knows about the Flux and the Sontarans? Sontaran designs feel really classic inspired. And was that Dan Starkey, the hologram one? But they have, they clearly have that humour of the revived series, with the whole, you look absolutely ugly, you look disgustingly, like, eerie. It keeps bringing on that point. And then they mention that they need to take advantage of the situation, that the Flux is destroying half the universe, so we as Sontarans must take advantage of this so we can, like, rule over the universe. Great idea for Sontarans. I'm really curious and also very worried the Weeping Angel stuff isn't going to connect very well. I think when we get to their episode, it really depends, because the last time we've had a Weeping Angel story that was heavily connected, that had connected to something which is the end of the universe and stuff, we had Flesh and Stone, which, if you remember, it was really good until we had that story arc tied and stuff, and that kind of reminded me of that in here. I'm really curious to know who that girl is, who just kind of meets up with the Doctor and they're just like, sorry, have we met? No, not yet, but we will do. Reminds me a lot of Canton Delaware, the third, from The Impossible Astronaut and Dave the Moon. I'm sure there's like another story where in modern era which has done that as well. But yeah, it's one Doctor Who's back. 6 episodes, but man, the budget, like I said, the story looks gorgeous. Sometimes I felt like, though, the story is more stylish than it is trying to tell a story. Like we had that vendor guy who has been teased up in all of the interviews with, what's his name, Jacob Anderson, playing the vendor character. Like his scenes just felt like, right, we'll just have nice pretty things on screen. But yeah, I think, of course, this is like, part 1. This is the setup, the tease up. And I think for setting up, it has done actually a really good job. I really like the visions the Doctor gets. Yeah, sure, it is kind of annoying that the Doctor just randomly gets visions. Ties into to things. I don't know what, like, if the Swan is making her see these things, or if somebody's making her see these things to warn her. There was a bit at the start where she's talking to someone. It's like, right, you need to witness this, and you see the Swan in the prison. The Swan seems like a really great, interesting villain. Really threatening, especially when you have the Flux. Is the Flux part of the Swan? That's what I'm curious to know. Yeah, so curiosity-wise, ideas-wise, lots of interesting stuff, a lot of interesting ideas running around in my head. And I think the setup on it is very good. I think I'm really interested in all the stuff that this first episode, chapter 1, the Halloween apocalypse, ties into, like, later stories, later episodes. However, we've been through this dance before, haven't we? We've done this a lot of time with Series 5 and Series 6 and Series 7 and Series 8 and Series 9 and Series 10, shall we say, and Series 12. We've been through this a lot of times recently, with only Series 11 being the breath of fresh air that it actually is, which is why I enjoy Series 11 so much. But yeah, I'm worriedly optimistic, if that makes any sense. I think after watching this, my worries are still there. Like, certain parts of this episode remind me of the issues that I do have. But I feel like this episode anyway, makes it feel like the story is going to feel like one big epic story than like all of these little things that's like really annoying, like story arc like teasers in it which will distract from the main narrative it's telling. That's what I'm mainly worried about, especially now with the next episode. War of the Sontarans seems like to be a ground-to-earth Sontaran story. So, is that going to be singular? Are we going to go jump from a very story arc heavy tied episode to a very singular episode with the Sontarans? I don't know, but I also didn't like the idea of the trailer at the end anyway, because with that cliffhanger as well, that cliffhanger is absolutely gorgeous as well. But and then you have the Doctor Yaz and John Bishop, Dan, they make it out alive. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of overwhelmed in a sense. I do feel like I do have some issues, mainly that it's plot. Though we do get some really great character moments, especially with Yaz and Dan, and the Doctor seemingly being quiet and is more mysterious in this story, and she's closing herself off. She's kind of like this quirky, bombastic Doctor, this kind of Matt Smith inspired quirkiness to her Doctor is kind of breaking down a bit, and we are getting a much more, like, we are seeing the cracks within this Doctor. We are seeing what this Doctor is like underneath, and we kind of see this bombastic personality is a front. It is a front to try and keep everyone around her happy, like Yaz, for example. So Jodie Whittaker really nailed it out of the park in this story, in this episode. We just got to see. I'm really worried we're going to get an episode which is kind of singular, but then we're going to have like a lot of stuff teased into it. We'll just have to wait and see. Just not have another fugitive of the Jadoon type of episode again. Please, Cripps Tribunal, don't do that again to me, please. But then I feel like, this story is a little bit more. The whole thing is like, right, this is the story arc heavy episode. It's not like a single episode that's been breaking down to be part of a massive storyline. It did feel like generally from the beginning it was made to be part of the storyline. So again, hopefully this means that by the end of it, it will feel like one giant story as opposed to the story arc heavy and you got the singular episodes. I know I keep bringing that up, but it's my biggest worry. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun. Really, it's a great spectacle. Really cinematic. But will it overpass that? We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to do reaction videos for all the other episodes, and I'm still focusing as well as my main marathon, which on YouTube is on the 10th Doctor era, and for me in real life it's on the 12th Doctor era. So I'm actually coming close to having a story in my marathon, recording my marathon. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see. So Doctor Who Flux. What did you think about it? If you saw it, I don't know. Yeah.